The world is full of wonders.
Magic is waiting in small moments.
And monsters might be watching, just out of sight.
But if you're looking to find them,
adventure is waiting to happen.
You never know who you'll meet along the way.
We are the Storyteller Squad. Hello, adventurers. Welcome back to the Storyteller Squad. Thanks for joining us for more Monster of the Week. Before we begin, let's check in with our heroes.
To infect the world with devastation.
To torment the peoples of every nation.
To corrupt the virtues of truth and love.
To burn the world and the stars above.
Leviathan.
Beelzebub.
Asmodeus.
Azazel.
Moth Girl, let's fight.
Wendy, I choose you! I'm Raven Eugenia.
A funny intro. There's a time and place for everything, but not now. I'm Aidan Brightwood. Let's have an adventure. Last time, our heroes faced a series of frightening, panic-inducing scenarios. Raven and Aidan were attacked by the Doulahan Lena. Hugo discovered that Anya had been kidnapped and traveled to the Havens to try and rescue her. Damien followed after, leaving Whitaker alone with Morgan Wright, the Gorgon. As situations deteriorated, it began to look fairly dire for all of our heroes, but most especially Raven, as she fought tooth and nail to try and save Aidan, only to find herself on death's door. But then, we learned that all these perils were in fact a nightmare inflicted on Raven by the Demonlords, as Aidan arrived along with Wendy and Koraline to help kick her sinister siblings out of Raven's dreams. And that's where we left off. Demonlords. What do you do?
You all notice you're standing in water. And the water begins to swirl a little bit.
There's also a ring of fire slowly encircling the entire group, creating a fiery arena.
One would notice that there is a lingering foul stench in the air.
And the sound of clinking mail and drum beats on the horizon.
Raven, you find yourself in Dream as the blank white slate that you had been on moments ago begins to take on all these various attributes as the Demonlords regroup and are intent, it seems, on not letting you escape this nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Raven is going to look around, see all the water, see the fire, and she's going to look over at Aidan and at Corey, and I think she needs a minute. She's going to take her, silvery magic and kind of form it into these spheres and start, launching one of them at each of the Demonlords, and when they get really close, they're going to explode in, a flashbang, whiting out their vision. They're going to hear that, high-pitched noise, so they can't hear anything, and she's going to turn to Aidan and Corey and be like, okay, what's the plan?
Koraline watches as these silver flashbangs are sort of instinctually thrown towards your opponents and go off, and then the explosion of them, the flash happens very quickly, but then it sort of lingers.
They're kind of like little fireworks.
Yeah.
From our three's perspective, they're very pretty and sparkly.
It's like a shimmering, lens flare burst of light that's just held there as we see the Demonlords reacting in slow motion to cover their eyes or
dive under the water.
Yep. And Koraline will look at you. Again, she's now in her moth cryptid form.
Yeah.
And she says, "There you go. Like riding a bicycle, right?"
It's coming back.
Aidan will look to you. She'll sort of hand Wendy over to you. Wendy is breathing quickly. Like, this is strange for them. I think it's maybe like their first time in Dream.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, Wendy's never been to the dream space, have they?
Yeah, no. However, you'll recall that the like spirit plane on which you commune with all the animals of your deck is also generally a very similar white blank slate.
Yeah,
So like
it's very similar.
they seem amped, but not like afraid.
Yeah.
But they are definitely like their little rabbit chest is like beating really, really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Aidan says to you, I was worried that maybe your nightmares weren't just nightmares. So, I did go see Corey on Vivian's advice to hang out with some non-human friends, but also she wouldn't stop talking about it. And then she like cracks her big like clawed flickering hands and she's like, honestly, I'm looking for a chance to stretch. So come up with whatever your plan is together. I'm gonna go have some fun. And Koraline's moth form just bolts towards the Demonlords.
Hell yeah.
As Koraline moves forward in the space, like the closer she gets to the Demonlords, suddenly the slower she starts to move as she like enters your area of time dilation.
Mm-hmm.
Aidan will just like take your hands and she says, I don't know exactly what we're gonna do here, but I've got your back.
I've got yours.
Let's figure this out.
Let's fuck him up. And she'll squeeze Aiden's hands.
She goes, hell yeah, and gives you a kiss, and then we'll turn to go get into a fight.
Raven will turn to face the group again and do a gesture that's kind of like a conductor closing a song, and the silver sparkles will all drop and the time dilation stops.
Ooh.
Nice.
The silver flashes go off in the Demonlord's faces. Leviathan dives into the water. The rest of y'all, you can react how you would. Let's get into it. I guess it almost would be helpful for initiative for once.
Almost.
Almost. Whoever's got an idea, let's start things off for reals this time.
Azazel, being the sort of impulsive bitch that she is, I think is gonna take point.
Sure.
And she comes out of shielding her eyes. She goes, ah! And then summons a fiery whip
Ooh.
and lashes it at Raven specifically, trying to hook her around, let's say, her arms. She's using her hands to cast magic. Let's stop that shit immediately. Try to like drag her around by her wrists.
Sure. Roll kick some ass, Azazel.
Totally. This is so weird. Am I just rolling straight? Or?
Yeah, I think the way to do it, because I don't want to make stat sheets for the Demonlords, is
So valid.
straight rolls, and I'll give... What's your cool rating, Raven?
My cool is 2.
Okay. I'm going to make Aiden's cool for this encounter 2 as well, because
What is it normally?
it's normally 3. But this is her first time dreamwalking. It's your second. The Demonlords, as we've discussed, little table talk moment for the listeners, they don't understand dreamwalking the way that Koraline and her students do. So that's why you guys will have no modifiers, and we will not give the heroes the full brunt of like a +3 to their rolls. But we'll give them a little bonus just because they've had training. Whereas y'all are acting fully on instinct.
Hell yeah.
All right. 5.
Okay. This whip appears very cool. What a cool visual, just out of her black suit, the like long trailing fire whip lances forward at Raven, and Aidan will step in front and catch the whip on her arm. It just like wraps all the way down her forearm, and she just sort of like pulls it down, creating a lot of tension between the two. And she says, no, you're mine.
Oh.
And she will yank the whip and pull Azazel towards her, leap forward with her wings, and just like fully start fist fight knuckle boxing with Azazel.
Oh, let's fucking go.
Nice.
Impact as the two of you like meet in the center of this like little divide you've set up.
Whew. I thought I was going to be turning up the heat. Jesus.
Leviathan, you've got something.
As soon as Aiden's wings come out, there's a water whip that grabs on, and those wings are held onto from the water.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
Nice. Yeah, she gets this center area, and then suddenly Aidan is restrained by these like chains of slime and mucus from the water. How tall is the water in this space? Is it like knee height, ankle height? Like what's the energy you're trying to go for?
I'd say by now it's gotten to be about knee height.
Okay.
It's been steadily rising, and the whirlpool's starting to get a little deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And it's like when you're going into the waves at the ocean and it gets harder and harder to walk as you go.
The tide's coming in.
Yep.
Speaking of wings, as Corey flits over in her moth form, Asmodeus cocks his head back and says to no one in particular, spear. And he is handed a 7-foot-long spear with this massive black barbed metal end.
Ooh, yes.
And as he cocks it back and throws it, we see in slow motion the muscles in his arm start to burst through the leather in his jacket as this spear flies towards Corey. And if it hits her, pins her to the back of like a massive butterfly board that's splayed across the sky.
I didn't realize I was going to need my fan this session. Jesus Christ.
At least so early.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh, incredible. I will say that's such a cool description. It absolutely like catches her right in the chest, and she is sort of like splayed out, almost like a chalk outline on like a murder scene, thing against this like thing that's appeared. So her like form on there is like twitching as he like maybe approaches, and then we just hear and suddenly a massive foot is flying down from the sky as we see a giant-sized Corey in her human form with her chunky shit-kicker combat boots on. She is stomping downwards to crush Asmodeus beneath her foot.
I'm sorry. The only thought I'm having is step on me, mommy. Like,
You're valid for your feelings.
yeah.
Yeah, no, Koraline's human form is just suddenly now stepping down on Asmodeus.
Ooh. Boot. I love it.
We are going to get so many step on me, mommy memes. I'm calling it right now. I'm calling it.
I think as we like zoom out and see this giant Koraline like splashing, stomping in the water, we just hear her laughing like, "You're into this, right? You're so into this, you little bitch."
Speaking of into this, it gets harder and harder to stomp as it gets less as stomping into water and more like stomping into mud and quicksand as she's pulled in deeper and deeper into the water.
Yes.
Okay.
And while all the other Demonlords are doing proper teamwork, we hear, coming from seemingly nowhere, "If you won't bring out the Morgan, I will force you to." And Raven will feel a presence behind her.
Uh-oh.
"Hello, Bird. Long time no see."
Oh shit!
And if she turns around, a covered face will be staring right at her. And she'll hear the sound of a subway.
Oh, shit.
Yep, it's Snallygaster.
Oh my god.
Incredible.
Oh, man.
You scary bitch.
So there's like distinctly the sound of a subway as she turns around.
No physical sign of one, but the sound of it.
Says you.
Oh. Oh no.
A subway train will just come sideways and try to hit them.
Yes! Fucking blessed.
Amazing.
She will take a little step back as it like blows her hair and like whizzes in front of her.
Raven takes a step back, the yellow line appears in front of her feet,
Yeah.
and just fully splatters Snallygaster on the train engine.
Please stand behind the yellow line.
You didn't even give him a fucking chance. Oh my god.
Well, no, the train keeps going. It goes and it keeps going and it keeps going, and you hear it screeching to a stop.
Ooh.
As it stops, the doors open.
Do I see BLs, like, do the doors open and she sees through the subway train and there's BLs on the other platform?
Yep, BL's is waiting just through the train on the other side.
Oh, that's so good.
BL's is standing there, gripping their staff while staring out of their dark hood. Their aura is intense with hunger.
I think she's feeling a little cheeky. She's gonna like put a hand over her eyes and kind of lean back and try to, as if she's looking to see what happened to Snallygaster. Like, where'd they go? Oopsies. And then just try to make direct eye contact with BLs. Like shrug. Like, is that it?
Mm-hmm.
I think because this subway train has gotten so long, you hear like creaking and screeching of metal as the front of the train has just gone like vertical and is now reaching up and coming back and is going to crush the side of the platform that BL's is on.
Like a roller coaster?
I'm thinking more like Inception style. Instead of a city, it's like the subway train has just like nonsensically like gone straight up and is now crashing backwards on itself.
Yeah, sure.
Squish you like a bug. And she'll just take another kind of like cheeky step back as like there's a crashing of the train and the like wind of it hitting the platform.
Yep. We hear the hydraulic systems shattering and broken glass and metal screeching and tearing as it just impacts with the visage of BLs on the other platform.
And the sound starts off as that crashing sound, but it begins to get muffled as if underwater. And as you go to breathe and speak, bubbles come out.
Ooh.
And while, there's dark water at your feet, you start to notice you're actually fully underwater.
Oh.
But the stuff at head level, it just happens to be clear, so you didn't notice or think about it, but you can't breathe.
Crystal clear waters. Yeah.
That's really good and really scary.
Aidan is also in this predicament under the water, but I think the slime that is like gripping her wings, her second set emerge from her back and just sweep down whooshing, and fully like cut herself free. And then she and Azazel rocket up and burst out of like the boundless surface of this water and are like now rising up above everything into like a clouded sky. She's got Azazel by like the lapels of her dark suit.
I think at this point, Azazel summons some gauntlets of fire around her hands, like just these big chunky gauntlets, and takes a big old swing at Aidan's face.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to get her to let go of her lapels.
I think it's the moment of like fiery gauntlets formed, putting themselves together in the smoking like wrought iron pulled from a forge, rears back and punches and hits Aidan, and it's just that solid like, and Aidan not even a flinch.
Ugh.
Her eye moves to like where the fist is for a second, looks at Azazel and just gives her like a big grin, and then like does sort of a barrel roll arc and throws Azazel away from her, and then will like charge after, flying through the air. So now it's free fall fight. What do you want to do?
Azazel's up in the air. She's floating there. She spreads her arms out wide and sparks start to fly from her fingertips. Smoke coils and starts to coalesce into this smoldering serpentine dragon. She latches onto like its mane and it's like riding astride it, but like sort of in like a squat type of deal.
Yep.
Like when a skateboarder gets down low on their board, or a snowboarder, and is holding onto the mane of the dragon and just drives it straight down at Aidan, cackling maniacally. Its maw opens up, ready to clamp down on her.
Ooh, bit of lore. This is not a figment of Azazel's imagination.
Ooh!
This is, one moment while I pull up her name.
Mel, I'm looking at your expression here. Did you know that you were, or did you just stumble onto this?
I'm just delighted. This is just delightful, and it's reminding me of things that happened at PAX Unplugged.
Nice.
Is that where this is coming from, Natalie? Is that where this is coming?
Little dragon lore? Some dragon lore?
Yes.
Yes! Yes!
Aha, yes. This is the corrupted Drake, Valharamander Dracarison.
Whoa.
Damn. That's
What
the
a
sexiest thing that's been said so far.
Whitaker, when the fuck did you get here?
That wasn't Whitaker.
It sounded vaguely Whitaker's voice. I'm not gonna lie to you, my guy.
Whitaker heard there was dragons, was like, hello? I'm here.
I'm in the dream now. Get me in. Tag me in, coach.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, this is the one dragon that Azazel managed to corrupt.
Ooh.
Damn.
Let's fucking go, bitch.
Mel, that was boss of you. Holy shit.
Very fucking cool. I think it does swallow Aidan. Its fiery maw opens and just pure inferno on the inside, with a loud rows of teeth shut around Aidan. Azazel cackling on top of this thing as it rides through the air. This dragon has huge bat-like wings. She is very serpentine and long, but she has classic dragon wings as well, which are currently billowing smoke and raining ash with every wing beat. But we see a shine in the dragon's throat, and it vomits fire, sulfur, and smoke, and Aidan rockets out in a spiraling corkscrew, flicking magma off her wings as they unfurl. She stops her momentum in the air, and 4 wings spread behind her, framing her with their light as a flash of gold sweeps out behind her. In the gathering storm clouds, we see rays of light breaking through the cloud cover. Aidan raises her hand, the clouds begin to part, and we see 30-foot swords of light are forming in the sky.
Go to sleep, Valhara.
And as she levels her hand towards the dragon, these celestial blades orient themselves at her command, fly at the dragon, pierce through its wings, and impale it with such force that it is being driven towards the ground.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Aidan is haloed in front of the clouds and looks on as her rain of blades sends this massive hellhound dragon crashing beneath her.
Holy shit.
Damn.
Let's cut to Koraline and Asmodeus as they're duking it out.
Yeah, as the boot starts to like sink and twist in the mud, and Corey starts to get more and more stuck in this like gray, sucking, slimy mud. You see like a rippling in the surface of the mud as something slithers out from under the boot.
Ooh.
And there's this jet black snake carving its way through the mud.
Yes!
And it like lifts up out of the mud and slowly starts to like form into like a wet, mud dripping person with this black scale mail armor.
Ooh.
And as he like shakes off the mud, all of the gray and the black tar-like substance falls away to reveal gleaming metal, a brilliant white tabard, a brilliant white and blue tabard, and just this massive hulking juggernaut of a knight climbing up from the mud. And he sort of shakes off the last of the mud and says, "Thanks for setting the stage, sis." And surrounding Corey, you hear the chunk, 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 chunk of troops approaching. Line upon line of these gleaming, shining soldiers in these blue and white tabards, all surrounding Corey, all surrounding the two of them in this big, like, bear pit style, medieval fight.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Somehow, as he was like crawling out of the mud, her human form, as it was being pulled down, like shrank back down to like scale. And as he like gives the line, the crowd, the knights all erupting with like cheers. Asmodeus! Asmodeus! It almost takes on like Gregorian chanting, you know, kind of feel to it.
God, I miss the Crusades.
God fucking damn it.
Yes. Koraline stands up, sees her human self going up against this hulking knight version of Asmodeus, and she says, "This is Armani." Sheds her jacket and erupts into the flickering moth cryptid shape.
Yes.
Dark, flickering shapes begin to like form in her hands as a like wooden and brass rimmed shield forms with a like very simply painted but elegant battle crest of a moth's wings appears on that, and then a very intricately etched war axe just like forms up in her other arm. And she will take 2 steps, leap up into the air, spread her wings for a little more height, and then come down towards the knight. And we hear clang! The weapons begin to clash.
Yes. Okay, someone give me a weapon that isn't a sword and isn't a battle axe.
Halberd.
Glaive?
Halberd is good. Well, glaive is also good.
Well, same family.
Yeah.
Why not both?
Dual wield.
Yeah, the true bisexual answer. Both. Both is good.
One end is a halberd, the other end is a glaive. He's got a chain whip and a fire sword, and he's my OC. Do not steal shit. It's the same joke again.
I support repeating this joke.
Somehow it always ends up back here.
No, I like double-ended glaive for Asmodeus. That's fun.
Yeah.
Very cool. Fucking pit fight going on. Yeah, the space of the dream is starting to make no sense as like sky mixes with ocean, mixes with like earth and battlefield. But yeah, let's swing back over to Raven.
Who's treading water.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Once she realizes, like she sees the little bubbles and she realizes she's underwater, I think Windy starts to panic a little bit on Raven's shoulder because they can't breathe.
They're like scrambling to hang on to you as the water like lifts them up off your shoulder.
Yeah, and so Raven will grab them off of her shoulder and kind of like hold their face very gently, and she's gonna start to laugh because this is a dream and she's decided that she can breathe underwater and it doesn't fucking matter.
Yes.
Yep.
And so she's trying to show it like, it's okay, just breathe. Just like, we're fine, we're okay.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you roll manipulate someone?
Ooh, I would love to. We'll see how it goes. Ooh, that's a 12.
Hell yes.
Critical success on animal handling.
You start to laugh and your body language is very relaxed, almost excited.
Mm-hmm.
And Windy settles in your arms, and then they look around, look at their little raccoon paw, and then like make a tiny fist. And in silver light, their whole body starts to glow. And standing before you is their humanoid spirit form wearing the jackalope armor.
Yes.
And they take the mask and like tip it up so that it's like half like worn like sideways over their face. Like one eye is peeking through.
Mm-hmm.
And they give you a little wink and then pull out a bow and square up back to back with you.
Raven will, as they're back to back, she'll kind of reach back and grab Windy's hand, and the 2 of them are just gonna rocket straight up out of the water.
Cool. You appear up out of the water, land on the water's surface, just tap, tap, just standing on the top of it now.
Mm-hmm. Who's closest to us?
Leviathan and BLs are the 2 that are like messing with you the most, it seems, right now. You can see the explosions and like the giant gold swords piercing the dragon that Aidan is fighting. You can sort of hear the like roar of the army that Asmodeus has summoned just to watch him and the fighting going on with Koraline.
What a prick.
Yeah, so now you're just sort of on like a roiling ocean. Is the maelstrom still happening, Leviathan? Like, is it still a spiraling whirlpool or has that moved on?
It hasn't been enough suction because people have been like constantly fighting and moving around. But you can see that instead of like the little indent in the middle being down like a foot or 2, you can't see the bottom anymore. And you're still, on the surface, but now the surface is starting to slant more and more to a dark, dark spot.
Ooh.
Yep, like one of those penny catcher things.
Yup.
I imagine they're standing on the surface of the water as if there was like a solid film on top, and so the floor really is just starting to tilt and they're like sliding a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if there's like waves, they're trying to climb up them and use it as solid, like stay up on the flat spot.
Ooh, mm-hmm.
The like army of knights, I think, has inspired Raven a little bit. And as her and Windy are trying to climb out of this sinking whirlpool, you hear like, I guess distant, not footsteps, you hear like a distant rumbling, and the surface of the water starts to become even more unstable, and an entire army of giant animal spirits comes rumbling over the horizon. Raven will just reach up to one of them and like grab on and like jump on their back. And I think Wendy will do the same and just get carried away from this whirlpool. And the animals are just like jumping over it like they're humongous. All just different animals, all like the size of houses.
And as you look back and admire your army of your little stampede, you notice there's a reason that they're running. And that is because there are water twisters coming from the like little tornadoes from the water in prison bar styles, a row of them following them, getting closer and closer. So they're racing.
Ooh.
An advancing battalion of typhoons approaches you, Raven.
Damn. Oh my God.
Raven, I'll say this. There's a lot of stuff that you've been forced to like react to, but like you don't have eyes on Leviathan yet. She dove under the water and you're like missing her. So like that's a direction you could maybe go if you're looking for like something to really do in response to this like encroaching onslaught.
OMG, Raven, you should go fishing.
I was just trying to think of an animal that she could like switch to, one that is good on land and also in the water. What's something that hunts fish really well?
Here, look at your card list.
Oh, that's true. That's a great idea.
Not like a diving bird of prey, like an eagle.
I'm trying to think of something that could have been running with everybody else and that can also dive under the water.
There's plenty of animals on that list. You will find something.
Raven is going to switch to jumping onto the back of an alligator that is running along.
Okay.
And then the alligator is going to like leap up and dive through the surface of the water. We're going to try and find Leviathan.
You hang on to the scaly back of the alligator spirit. Oh God, what accent do I give them?
Steve Irwin.
I don't know if they talk. I don't know if they're literally the animal spirits. They're kind of Raven's like...
That's true. They are constructs. I don't know
Yeah.
that you would like imagine their personalities.
I think a lot of them match up with the animals in her spirit deck, but they're not necessarily them specifically. Like she didn't call them here. It's just like, I know I have an alligator spirit.
Sure. So this like spectral, half ghostly crocodile spirit that you're riding on.
Yeah.
You're under the water again, just swimming through the darkness.
Yeah. We're like moving along as quickly as possible, scanning everywhere, just looking for Leviathan.
You see a light. See a couple lights.
Yes.
They're moving. They look so pretty, Raven.
Ooh.
They are the prettiest, most beautiful lights. I think that one's a little blue. That one's yellow. There's a little green one. Ooh, that green one's on a line. That's cool. It's sort of wiggling like a snake. Oh, look at all these cool little gold things in the water. These little shiny bright lights in the water, Raven.
I hate this so much, but I also love it, and I want to give this to you so we can see it play out, because it's so good. We'll swim towards the lights. I know it's a trap, but
They're
I want
swimming
go...
to you, Raven.
Ugh.
They want to be friends.
I'm gonna pick the prettiest one, and I'm gonna swim towards it. I'll pick the blue one.
Yeah, the blue one gets bigger and bigger, and it disappears.
Oh no.
You're completely in the dark.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. Those things move really fast. You feel teeth around you.
That's what I wanted. Thank you.
Hot damn!
So cool. So scary, but also like the best fucking thing is anglerfish. God.
Not an anglerfish.
Oh no.
The gaping maw of the abyss serpent Cromcruick
Oh my God.
closes like a vice.
So, Raven, you're dying again. What do you do?
Raven's like, oh, I've done this before.
I've died once tonight already.
Time for another blonde streak.
We already need to add another one. I got stabbed.
Oh, you're gonna be grayer than Whitaker by the time we're done with this season.
Oh, man.
We can come back to you.
Yes, please. That's very, very cool, and I want to do something like very creative with it.
Raven, the void of the deadly sea serpent surrounds you in all directions, and you feel yourself getting cold.
Cool. Not scared. Definitely not scared.
We will cut over to Azazel. And Aidan. The dragon has now crashed into the ground. The golden, heavenly shards of light pin this dragon into the ground. And as it writhes there, it cannot shake itself from this binding that Aidan has cast. And she will swoom and just land with a little dust cloud and stand.
As she does that, these shards of light, these swords pierce the dragon. It starts to sizzle and dissipate away. And as we see it starting to like smoke off in sections, a massive amount of hellhounds start emerging from the sizzling like smoke coming off of the dragon as it starts to dissipate and start to, pardon my language, but dogpile Aidan.
Oh, like eating their way out of the dragon?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. The dragon's head as it just like rolls over the mouth. Tongue falls out and then just hellhounds leaping and piling out of this dragon's body. Very cool. Yeah, Aidan is like just hit with a stampede of various canine flaming monsters. What's our girl gonna do? I think we see her get overwhelmed. Like you say, literally dog piled. What's Azazel doing as this happens?
I think seeing Aidan get overwhelmed, she just starts laughing and starts slowly walking towards the dog pile. And I think she's going to summon a flaming sword. It feels very apt. I think specifically the hellhounds might start dragging Aidan down to the ground because there's so many of them.
Visually, she is buried in a pile of these swarming fiery dogs right now.
Yeah. Actually, I have a question about this.
Yeah.
Aidan's wings, they're like made of light. But if a demon who was once an angel attacks or tries to damage an angel's wings, does that do anything? Does that hurt? Is that painful?
We're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out. She's going to slice at Aidan's wings.
Okay.
The swarm clears just a little bit for Azazel to attack and try to sever them from her.
Get her.
Whoa.
You swing down with this sword, and one of the hellhounds leaps up and catches the blade in its mouth.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And starts to like tug at it, and suddenly it's not a sword, it's a stick.
God fucking damn it.
And we see the swarm of hellhounds as they break and move around Aidan. All these hellhounds are like wagging their tails and jumping about and barking. And Aidan is like laughing and petting one as it licks her face.
They just turned into a bunch of golden retrievers.
She's completely flipped the temperament of these hellhounds to be friendly puppies.
Sally, you can't make me hurt dogs. I won't do it. You can't make me.
Listen, I wasn't gonna hurt dogs either. I think there's a stick appears in her hand, and she gives a very like satisfied with herself smile to Azazel, and then says, "Go fetch." Throws the stick with her super strength. There's like a sonic boom as the stick breaks the sound barrier and just flies towards the horizon, and the hellhounds take off running, and the one holding onto the stick doesn't let go but takes off running, and Azazel starts to get dragged behind the stampeding hellhounds into the distance.
Nice.
For a moment, at least. You could let go, like be there, but that's how she's getting rid of these hellhounds.
Yeah. No, that's funny. Oh my god. Rude.
What does Azazel say as she's dragged away, and Aidan kind of just gives a little like wave?
I think she like yells in frustration a little bit, and she goes, "Aidan!" Like,
Yeah.
it's very cartoon villain.
Yep. Oh, amazing. Asmodeus. Ting ting, clang clang. Fighting with Koraline in the fight pit. How's that going?
Good question. It's going great. Grand old time over here.
Sure.
I need Corey to like get the upper hand on him at least one bit for like the next thing I want to do.
Sure. Are you imagining him like 10 feet tall or something like that right now? Like a Goliath?
Yeah, he is big. The armor is big. The weapon is big. It's probably a little bit hard to tell exactly how big he is. It just exudes this presence of just a massive, just like a moving statue is what it feels like to face him down.
Koraline As she's fighting, the roar of the crowd, Asmodeus, Asmodeus. At a certain point, the cheering of his name stops, and it just becomes the sound of shouts of like pain and distress. And if Asmodeus looks out into the crowd, you can see in like various sets of armor, but still carrying like the axe and shields, she has created raiders, copies of herself, to sneak up and start just assassinating the knights that were in the audience.
Yes, this is perfect.
And like as this is happening and the knights are like being overwhelmed, she hurls the axe at him and has it like impact or like fling off of him or something like that. But as it's dropping to the ground, it then stops and little crackles of like thunder and electricity shoot off it as it hovers above the ground, and then flies back to her hand, and her like large red eyes crackle a cool blue, and she says, "Didn't quite get the weapon right, but you get the idea." And will call down a lightning bolt to strike Asmodeus in his metal suit.
Ah, nice.
Invoking Old Norse legend.
That's very cool, and maybe that just finishes him off, honestly.
No, he's not done. It's Asmodeus.
He dies of embarrassment. No, you guys go on. I'll just lay here. It's fine.
I am fine if you want him to be like dazed for a minute.
I am not married to anything. If you've got an idea, go for that.
I think we see Asmodeus getting zapped, right? Our camera travels in through like one of the slits in the helm to like darkness, and we're back with Raven in the dark.
Okay.
Raven, there is nothing but the inky abyss of Crom Cruach surrounding you. And then you hear footsteps. They sound like sneakers squeaking on well-worn linoleum or a gymnasium floor.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear the scraping of like a desk and a chair. And Koraline, in her like human form, she's got like a little like plaid school skirt on, like a sweater over like a button-up.
Mm-hmm.
And she like sits down backwards in the chair, like rests her arms on the back of it, and looks at you, and she says, "Hey, how you doing?"
I'm doing okay. Had a moment where I was a little spooked there. PTSD, but I think I had a way out.
Well, fair to say, you were getting overwhelmed by these 4 jerks.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like I wouldn't be a good teacher if I didn't give you an evaluation. Is that cool?
Right now?
She gestures at where you are and she says, "What are you doing? You let this happen again?"
Okay, fair. Raven will sit down.
A desk appears.
Yep.
One of those black and white marbled notebooks just plops down with a little pencil, flips open, and Koraline is pointing at as if Raven had drawn them as sketches or diagrams in her notebook. "Okay, see that right there? I mean, yeah, that was cool and all, but they're going to use that against you. They can take that and fuck with your emotions. And all right, so if you'd done this," and she just starts to write down a bunch of gibberish, the way that writing is in most dreams. But basically, she's doodling and scribbling in your notebook as if she's doing a proof and trying to explain the emotional and dream logic of her critique. And so once they had you there, and here we are. And so, it's fine. It's okay. It's not the end of the world or anything, but
Yeah, we're fine, but it could be better.
Yeah, it could be better, for sure. Oh, gosh. Okay, I need to be very real with you for a second. Aidan came over the other day, and I haven't seen her like that in a while. She was really hung up on this. She gestures at all of you. The nightmares and whatever. And what am I doing telling you? And she catches herself trying to explain it, and instead will tap a finger on her forehead and then tap your forehead, and we see a bright light fill the scene. And suddenly, you are standing in what you assume is Corey and Rianne's hotel suite, or maybe even a rented house. Some fancy place she's got booked while she's in Portland. And Aidan is lying on a couch, hugging a pillow to her chest, just staring up the ceiling. Koraline is sitting cross-legged on the floor, playing some kind of video game with headset on and a giant bowl of popcorn. They're just hanging out, And Aidan is talking, and Corey seems to just be snacking and nodding along as she listens. And we hear Aidan say, "It's been different since the fight on the beach. What I did to Raven, it was a good thing at the time, but now I'm a little... I didn't know what I was doing." Corey takes a bite of popcorn. "Well, yeah, but you were both gonna die." "I know, but it's 2 years later, and I've still got this feeling in the back of my mind I can't shake. And I don't necessarily want to. It's a nice feeling, being able to sense her and everything, but..." Then the video on the screen pauses, and Koraline, again, the one playing the video game, looks directly at you and makes eye contact. And she says, "So she was doing the thing she does where she talks in circles for a while, but let's speed this up." And she gestures in the air as if she was turning a dial. And you see Aidan gesturing and talking and getting emotional and drinking some water to calm down, etc., etc. And Koraline says, "TLDR, she can feel when you're in pain now? Every time."
Oh.
Corey looks at the replay Aidan, who is frozen in a sort of unflattering moment of blowing her nose. But she says, "That angel loves you a whole lot. I don't know if you two have actually had a chance to talk about it, but from what she told me the other night, a part of her is literally a part of you now." And we see her press a button on the controller, and it cuts back into real time of Aidan talking, and she says, "I don't know what giving a piece of a celestial spark does to a human. It brought her back, but what if she's different now? What if she's in danger? Damien was. If these nightmares are somehow because of me, I want to fix it." Koraline presses another button. The TV goes blank. The scene starts to get hazy, and Koraline stands up and she says, "She gave you a spark of her power, and look what it did to her." And Koraline gestures, and a bunch of floating screens appear around you. All of them are depicting moments from the last 2 years where Aidan has been captured on the news or by civilian photographers, and the footage is showing times when Aidan's powers were notably impressive and a lot stronger than anything she was capable of before the Battle of Atlantic City. "You think all that's a coincidence?" And she does this gesture like she's wiping fog off a window that's fogged up with glass, and suddenly you can just see an aerial view down of Azazel and Aidan fighting, where Azazel has been dragged by the dogs, and you can see Aidan just watching from the air. And she looks back and actually makes eye contact with you and Corey and gives a little, hey, wave. And you see in the dirt, the dog footprints and Azazel's dragging has scorched "I love you" into a field.
Stop it.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh my God.
That is so fucking cute.
Raven gives a little stunned wave back. Doesn't even really realize she's doing it, just does it automatically.
Yep.
And just says out loud to Corey, "Oh my God."
Koraline says, "She gave up a piece of herself, and this is what she's like now. The first light is stronger because of you. Now, I don't know for sure what's happening between you two, but I think you're a lot stronger than you think you are."
This is a lot to take in.
She will pat you on the back. The darkness starts to creep in again as the scene that she's interrupted is starting to take hold again. And she says, "Give him hell, kid. I gotta get back to kicking ass. Good luck." And she just disappears down a vanishing dark corridor into nothing. And Koraline is gone.
And I'm back in the abyss.
Yeah.
Raven kind of throws her hands up a little bit at that. I'm like, really? You're just... Yeah, come on. She's gonna grumble to herself a little bit, I think. I'm just God, Corey's... She wants to say something mean, but she's not actually that mad at her, and she's been really nice lately.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as she's grumbling, There's little like golden sparkles, and Raven is in the bee armor.
Just materializes.
Yeah. She kind of just like rubs her hands together and then does like flicks her hand out and like shing, the forearm blade comes out.
The lance, the stinger lance.
And she's in this like endless abyss. She's been there before. It's terrible. It's empty. There's nothing. It's infinity, whatever. But she's also aware that she is in a sea serpent and they're kind of just a big tube. And so she's gonna swipe in a big arc and try to just cut herself out of this sea serpent in like one big swipe and try to just cut it in half.
Amazing. In this one instance, I will have you roll plus your cool.
Okay, that's fair. That's a 9.
Okay. We see in the dark waters the writhing form of Kromkruik, and then it shrimps up. It curls into like a curled like shrimp position for a second, and then there is a searing lance of light just in a crescent.
Yeah.
And a gold moon crescent splits Kromkruik apart and shines light into the dark waters down here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
We see Raven there, framed within the crescent moon, a little gold and like silver star in that after effect glow of the moon.
You know the feeling when your arm or leg falls asleep because you've been laying on it for too long?
Mm-hmm.
Raven starts to feel something like that as tiny, little, painful pins and needles start to tingle all over her body, and you realize that there is a swarm of piranhas biting and swimming around you to attack the little gaps and open spots in your armor.
I think still working with this golden magic that she's embracing for the moment. She wants it to spark around her body and kind of zap all of these piranhas to just like shock them all and get them to stop and to hopefully just die and leave her alone.
Create an aura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, no.
It sounds like the swarming of bees. And the lightning just crackles across. The piranhas are zapped and flip upside down and start to like raise towards the surface of the water. Which will give you a direction out.
Yeah, she'll zip past him, heading towards the surface.
Yep, there is a splash and you breach at the water's surface. You are out of the abyss, Raven.
She shakes her little bee wings off and she's flying.
Mm-hmm.
What direction, once she gets out of the water, is she trying to go in?
She's bursted out of the water and she's like just above the water's surface. She's not like way up in the sky or anything. If she can see BL's, probably towards him. But I guess that's up to you if you are currently like visible in an obvious way. To be honest, I think she's kind of given up on Leviathan. She went in the water looking for her and it was just like, this was terrible. Maybe I should try someone else.
There is definitely a visible BLs.
All right, she'll head towards you.
Please describe the visible BLs.
Yes, please.
Just BLs as normal, covered up, holding a staff, waiting for the approach.
She's heading over cautiously, not like beelining. I'm sorry.
You're a loud one.
So as she's heading over, BLs gives a slight tilt of acknowledgement at seeing Raven in the bee armor and bursts into a swarm of locusts.
Ooh.
Yes.
Which then begins to rush past her. And once her vision is cleared, she finds herself in darkness with something wooden above her face. She realizes that she can't quite move her arms as far as she was able to move them before, or her legs. Feels a tickle in her throat and starts coughing up dirt.
Oh. Oh, shit.
And in the dark, you hear as BL's cackles.
Oh, no. Don't like that at all.
That's fun.
Yeah.
It's not even like fantastical and fun that I could do something with. It's just scary.
Very BLs.
I might have to think about this one for a minute. That's very, very good.
That's a good place to switch, though.
Yeah.
We watch the dirt and dust shift slightly over the wooden coffin lid as our camera rapidly ascends through the earth, and we see Asmodeus's smoking suit of armor. Clang! Knees hit the ground. Boom! The helmet falls face down in the mud, and Koraline, dismissing the rest of the arena, calmly approaching Asmodeus's form, she says, "You ever get tired of being the world's largest prick?"
Something, something. Asmodeus has a large dick. Something, something.
Somehow that's a compliment.
I'd understand if you can't always get it up.
Queen!
That's pretty funny. Asmodeus, still crackling with electricity, looks up at her and sneers. "You think you're so cute." And then the electricity on him explodes outwards in this grid formation. Wires and cables and telephone poles erupt from the earth, followed by rebar and concrete and brick. And suddenly the battlefield they were on ruptures into these towering walls on either side of them. And as the walls go up, the whole area gets very dark and very dingy, as the two of them are now facing each other down in an alleyway. And as he stands up, he's not massive anymore. He's not this hulking brute figure. Honestly, as the armor sloughs off him, he looks kind of just like a regular guy. And yet, he still seems to take up way too much space in the alleyway.
Bristling with potential energy.
Yeah. A street lamp flickers overhead.
Mm-hmm.
And as he approaches her, he says, "You can conjure up all the smoke and mirrors you like, but none of it's real. What are you underneath all that? Strip back all the shoddy illusions, and here's what it comes down to. I've got you trapped. This," he flicks his hand, and a switchblade flashes in the lamplight. "This is what power is."
Yeah.
No audience, no fanfare, just him and Corey in an alley, and nothing between them but a knife.
Mm-hmm. I don't even think she's in her moth form anymore. She's back to her human form, but in the way that I've described her this season, where the antennae are there. So it's clear that she's not human, and we can see behind Asmodeus the Mantis Bros being beat up on by similar dressed thugs to Asmodeus. There is shouts of screams and pained chaos happening beyond this alley as Corey backs up and hits the brick wall of this dead end where she has nowhere to retreat to. Our camera zooms in as her pupil dilates, the red of her eye, and then it morphs just slightly and becomes the red of Azazel's eye as we pick up with them. What's going on, Azazel?
When we cut back to Aidan and Azazel, we get that camera pan like you do in a Western film when two people square up down the road from each other. And we see Azazel breathing heavily, not because she's tired, but because she's frustrated and angry and full of rage.
Guitar riff.
Thank you. Thank you for humoring me. Anyway, for once, she's actually thinking about her next move instead of just doing it. She's going to summon fire in her hands, and she starts walking towards Aidan, step by step, very slowly, and is keeping the focus on herself. And when Aidan isn't looking, these hot iron chains snake up and start to coil around her arms, around her wings, around her legs, around her neck, which might feel a little familiar to dream events that were happening earlier this evening. And as they coil up and around her, she'll just unleash fire and fury upon her sister.
An inferno roils and is fed by more blasts and bursts of flame. Aidan's form is just fully engulfed. There's like a dark silhouette at the center of this fire, but otherwise it is a towering blaze that licks towards the non-existent sky. And we see Aidan's scorched and badly burned, soot-covered form, her clothes nearly shredded to embers, just like restrained by these chains that dig in and burn into her skin, and she appears to have taken the brunt of that attack and is helpless to do anything.
I want her to say something, and I cannot think of anything right now, and it's driving me crazy.
What would she do?
I think she would start to get a little bit cocky, seeing that things are working in this moment. She's just going to keep firing and slamming fireball after fireball after fireball in her until she is toe-to-toe with her.
When you get to Aidan in this moment, the gold glow of her has been reduced to a flickering glimmer in her chest, like a dying ember. She looks up at you through like one blinking, teary, streaked eye, and she just says to Azazel, "This is what you wanted."
No, this is what you brought on yourself. And she goes to launch one more giant blast of fire right into the center of her chest.
The fire wreathes Azazel's hand and plunges into Aidan's form. That spark in her chest is fully burned away, and Aidan's body becomes blackened charcoal.
Hey, adventurers. How's everyone doing? Let's take a minute away from the action and think about happier things, like announcements. First up, the Storyteller Squad will be in Seattle at PAX West at the end of August. If you missed us at PAX East earlier this year, now's your chance to get your hands on some really cool new merch and meet some of the cast at the booth. Keep your eye on our socials for more info. Our promo swap this week is The Heart is a Dungeon podcast, a TTRPG soundscape adventure playing under Hollow Hills. Let's listen to their trailer.
Do you not want to cry with us? You can cry with us. This is a unique experience. I haven't done this in some time.
Cried?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I don't believe I have anything to cry about just now.
Are all of my features Corvid-like again, or...?
All of them but your heart for now.
Oh, but then my heart is like the size of my body.
Possibly.
Yeah, I'm a little wobbly. It looks like I'm very full.
Those with hearts that big always have to walk carefully.
God damn it.
I don't hate you. Why would you think that I hate you? I've never hated anything. I'm just heartbroken, and I just start openly weeping.
I think this takes me towards winter.
Oh, Pippa. Oh, no.
I do not like this form.
Just let it go, Lala.
Just let it go. You continue to wound me.
The Heart is a Dungeon podcast, a TTRPG adventure for heroes and poets. Join us in this series and 26 friends as our fairy circus explores the land.
You can find The Heart is a Dungeon on Spotify, YouTube, and socials under The Heart is a Dungeon. Thanks, guys. Speaking of socials, you can follow us on the various social medias to keep up with our new episode announcements, upcoming events, and the latest episode-related memes. We're at Story Squad Cast. Still need more squad time? Join our Discord. You can chat with other fans, participate in live listens, and see the best memes before we share them on our socials. What's that? Still not enough Storyteller Squad? All right, consider becoming a patron. Your support helps keep the show going, plus you get some cool stuff when you join, like our new talkback series, Good Morning Autumn Falls, that airs after every arc of the season. Can't become a patron right now? No worries. Leaving us a 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice and sharing the show with a friend is a quick and easy way to help us out, and it really means a lot. Okay, that's all I've got for you this week. I'll let you get back into the episode. Take care out there, adventurers.
Charcoal and soot litter the ground in front of Azazel as Aidan's charred, motionless form kneels there like a wooden statue that's been burned. And then we see just past Aidan, over her shoulder, another charred and burned figure.
Oh.
And then another, and then another, and another, and another. A host of charred, fallen celestials surrounds Azazel as she beholds the bodies of every celestial she has claimed. And a figure with a mask of bark light behind the eye holes and a wreathed mantle of flowers, moss, and grasses steps out from behind Azazel and says, "Now what?"
Clarify something for me, Natalie.
Mm-hmm.
That figure,
That is the spirit of the earth.
their creator, right?
Aidan has referred to them as Mom.
Hands still smoldering with fire, turns toward their creator and says, Now I win. And reaches for her, hands ablaze.
Girl.
Yep, that's Azazel.
Uh-huh.
I think we'll cut away. Koraline, we see her in the alley spitting out blood and like landing amongst a pile of trash bags and street litter. Asmodeus stands before her, knuckles bloody.
Yeah, I think he flicks some of the blood off of his knuckles. Probably flicks it onto her, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
I was hoping for a little more fight out of you.
That's just like you. You always want a little bit more.
Well, not that this hasn't been fun, but I think I'm gonna go give my sister a call. And he manifests a lead pipe in his hand and goes to make one final blow at her.
And we see Coraline's head hit the pavement with a sickening. Raven, you are in the coffin.
Yes.
What do?
You hear digging. Raven, I'm coming. I got you. And the door opens and there's Damien.
What?
Oh, you little...
What did you do?
It's okay. You don't have to be scared of these things. They don't bother you. You have magic. And he stabs you in the chest.
Oh my fucking god!
Holy shit!
Oh my god! What the fuck?
How dare you?
Ah!
You said you were trying to move past just doing water stuff. I didn't know you were gonna go straight for my heart.
Literally!
He's a Leviathan minion. She can't make a dream version of him for you?
No, she absolutely could.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
That's fully within her domain.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And his eyes glow green and he says, "Kill Aidan and be free." And he keeps trying to stab.
I'm just gonna stay down here. This is fine.
Raven is still in the bee armor, and she's going to try and cut fake Damien's arm off so he will stop stabbing her.
Mm-hmm. He's a slime. Easy enough.
Yep.
Yeah, easy.
I think he gets a couple stabs, and once she realizes what's happening, the bee armor gets stronger and starts repelling the knife as she catches onto what's happening. Once she slices off his arm, she will grab him by the shoulders and try to pull him down into the coffin and launch herself out and just leave him behind.
He turns to water. and just splashes.
Nice. That was not my Damien.
There's a splash of salt water as you clear the grave.
Yeah, she launches up out of the ground like, oh.
Dirt, debris, sod everywhere. Yeah.
That one got to her a little bit.
Way to give us a jump scare. Fuck.
Yeah. I think she does actually feel some like real pain in her chest from that. Like that broke through, and for a second it was a little too real, and that spooked her. It spooked me. It was really good.
Mark 2 harm.
Okay, that feels fair.
But wait, there's more.
Go on.
Oh no. Oh no.
I would expect nothing less.
As Raven pops out of the grave, she finds herself in a countryside view, essentially on the other side, the far, far other side of that town that Asmodeus had made. Her nostrils are immediately filled with the acrid and pungent smell of rotting. She's surrounded by ears of corn. Upon further inspection, she realizes those aren't ears of corn. Those are eyes of corn.
Oh no!
Oh.
What? Excuse me?
And crawling out from underneath them is Wendy.
Ah!
Oh.
Spirit form Wendy. Or humanish spirit form Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
They will reach up to her
Uh-huh.
and then collapse on the ground.
And I'm just surrounded by terrifying corn. Can you elaborate on what you mean by eyes of corn?
No, I won't.
The correct answer.
Is it just vibes? Because I think I know what you mean.
Eyes of corn.
Yeah, okay. Terrifying. Thank you.
There's a decrepit rundown barn house in the background.
Yep.
There is a incredibly rusted car. This thing has seen better days.
Ooh, yeah. The Maxwell farm.
I don't like playing with Beelzebub in the dream space anymore.
Can I take it a step further?
Absolutely.
Wendy's human form is clearly sick and like unwell. You're not sure from what. Dark, red, blotchy circles around their eyes, black ichor dripping from the corner of their mouth. Raven, as you help them to their feet and try to like move your way through this corn, you break the field and are standing on a ridge. It's a ridge because the land here has been pushed upwards, creating a berm of ground. And you look, and stretching out before you is a massive, barren crater. You look at the barn and see the slats on it creaking and disintegrating slowly. You see that rusted car sink more into the ground. A feeling in the air tells you that this entire region is irradiated.
Tick, 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 tick of your internal Geiger counter going off.
Okay. Shit. God, I don't know how to handle the like just slightly off, like more realistic dream stuff that BLs does. They clearly have a much better handle on dreamwalking than everybody else.
They were trapped in dream for a while.
Whose fault was that?
They don't have a beef at all. No, of course not. They weren't spending the entire fight analyzing what you were doing and trying to understand how you work. No, of course not.
Analytical.
Yep.
Some grass-fed beef we've got here.
Organic, all natural.
Some free-range beef.
Oh, it's BLs. They're full of antibiotics and hormones.
True, yeah. And Koraline's here, so all right.
Natalie, how fucking dare you?
I'm allowed to make that joke.
No, it's so fucking funny. Oh my god.
Well, first things first, I don't trust this Wendy. I don't believe they're real. Just because of where we are and who I'm dealing with.
Sure.
I'm like, I don't think you're my Wendy. You can come with me, but I don't think it's you. Oh, shit. I am so stumped.
We do ask the question of, where has Wendy been since you had summoned them.
That's true. Shit, it could be them. I don't know.
The last we saw of Windy, they were riding away on the back of the large stampede of animals you had called on. And I think crawling their way towards you up the steep slope of the crater are several animals who all look terribly sick with radiation, drooling more of the black sludge and in some cases horribly mutated or wounded.
Oh my god.
As they get closer, I think Raven is just going to kind of wave her hand away at them, and they're going to like dissipate into little playing cards and like blow away.
Ooh.
These were mine. You don't get to take them from me and corrupt them. Like, now they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
As they come up out of the crater, they all just flitter away, and then the cards just kind of like disintegrate and disappear. That's one thing I can deal with. We're not doing that.
Can I add another thing?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Make Raven think on her feet.
Does Raven have any cards in her hand at the moment?
Not in the dream world, no. She doesn't have like her deck on her.
Okay.
The cards that the army turned into just like disintegrated and fluttered away. They weren't like her cards specifically.
Well, if she looks down into her hand, she sees a single card sitting there.
One of her tarot cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. Beautiful. Take it home.
Well, she's gonna flip it over. She knows a trap when she sees one, but she's still gonna do it.
And as I do not remember the details, Natalie, could you describe what would be on that card for what I'm thinking of?
It's the Raven card.
Oh.
Yeah.
A raven on a tree.
Mm-hmm.
The Morgan appears beside you.
But is it really the Morgan?
Is it, Raven?
Could it be?
It's your dream, girly pop.
I kind of want it to be just for funsies, because fuck it.
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it. I think Raven flips the card, sees it, gets what is happening, and is like, okay, we're doing this. And then summons the Morgan, like, for real, in this space.
She stands beside you, her dark feathered mantle draping down and hiding most of her form except for the long, black taloned gloves folded in front of her in neat, steepled points. And she says, I cannot stay long.
Raven is going to slap her hands down, and suddenly there's a table, and the camera will kind of zoom in on Raven, but at the same time is kind of zooming out from everything else. And on the table is a mini version of everything that's happening in the dream space on this just like big white table.
Let's go.
So there's the fields and the cornfields and the crater, and there's the town, and there's the water, and there's a big grid on everything, and there's little tiny minis of everybody that's participating in this.
Mm-hmm.
And Raven's standing at the table with the Morgan and Aidan and Corey.
Koraline is giving you a little slow clap. That's what I'm fucking talking about.
Raven will kind of shrug a little bit like, well, you know, it took me long enough.
Aidan's beaming. What now?
I got us this far. And the Morgan's here.
Hey.
I think on the table, you can see the minis are kind of like slowly moving themselves as the dream space stuff is still happening. So like both things are happening at the same time.
Yep.
And you can see like a mini for Raven and the Morgan down in the field still as everything's kind of happening in slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
I guess above the table question, like two levels above the table.
All right, yeah.
What is our goal? Because like we can't kill the Demonlords. I know that.
Correct.
We're not trying to kill them or destroy them or anything. Is the point to like kick them out of this dream space and kind of just like kick their asses and scare them a little bit? Like, is that what we're trying to do here? To like prove a point?
Well, I think...
Because I think that's why I'm struggling on a final move is like I don't really know what we're trying to do.
I think if Raven asks, what are we shooting for here?
Mm-hmm.
right? Aidan will look to Corey and she says, there's got to be some way we can protect Raven's dreams from this happening again, right? And Koraline says, do you think it's purely for extravagance that I sleep within a warded zone all the time? And she will look to you, Raven, and she says, you're a very powerful witch. Protect your mind. Protect this. And she places a finger right over your heart, Raven. And when she does, her human hand shifts up half the forearm to be her moth cryptid form as a little gold light pulses there at her fingertip. Aidan, her eyes catch the glint of it, and she closes her eyes for a minute, and then all of her becomes that gold spark. And from the gold light on your chest, Raven, silver light fills up the rest of you. And Koraline looks between the two of you, and she says, they're coming after you because the two of you are connected now. You need a defense of your own. You need to protect this. It's time to figure out some spellcraft, ladies. Raven, in order to protect your mind and dreams from future invasion by the Demonlords, you will need to cast a powerful warding spell.
On myself specifically?
Mm-hmm. Especially the part of you that came from Aidan.
Okay.
That little piece of celestial spark that has been woven into yours. It's time for big magic.
Oh, we're doing it right now.
Right now.
Okay.
Oh, bitch. Okay.
This is happening right now.
Okay.
Aidan looks at you, Raven. Gives you a warm smile, and she'll take your hand. What do you want to dream about?
I want to dream about being home in Autumn Falls, in the woods, on that trail that leads to the springs.
She nods and says, sounds perfect. Our camera suddenly drops in free fall from this above the table meeting you're having with your allies down to the board, where we see for a moment a not quite as far removed view, but still an aerial bird's eye view, where we see Windy sitting on a cloud riding with their bowstring stretched down around it, one of Leviathan's typhoons.
Nice.
As this little wind spirit does some typhoon rustling.
Having the time of their life.
And is chasing the others around and corralling them down a drain that is sucking the ocean that Leviathan summoned away.
Oh my god. I love them. I knew that wasn't my Wendy.
It was not.
You knew it.
We see as Asmodeus turns to leave this alley, he walks for a bit, takes a few steps, takes a few more steps. That's weird. Should have gotten to the sidewalk by now. The alley continues to just stretch forward. What the fuck is going on?
That dolly zoom.
We see rising, almost zombified, is Koraline's corpse, twitching and shaking a little bit.
Awful.
And on the brick walls of the buildings, the shadows deepen and start to flicker, and red eyes open on the walls. They open on the ground in front of him, and dark, flickering arms reach out from the walls and grab at him.
Yeah, he starts first hitting them away with the lead pipe.
They're batted away, but more. Grab at the ankles, grab at the thighs, pull at the back. The jacket is being ripped from him.
Get off me! Clamoring, he pulls down one of the telephone wires, tries to electrocute the surrounding hands.
There is a sparking as the cable surges in his hands. He's unaffected, but they are seared away. Many of them dissipate or disintegrate, but more come. And we hear Koraline's rasping voice as her broken-necked human body walks towards him, and he might turn over a shoulder to see her approaching. She says, "That's the thing about lust. It's a feeling. And feelings are fleeting. Ideas are far more enduring. I am a legend. I cannot be destroyed." And dark hands smother Asmodeus.
Yeah.
Woo!
Holy shit.
Fucking get him.
He might be into that, but damn.
We see Azazel trying to burn away the spirit of the earth. Its form fully engulfs in flame. And if Azazel takes their hands away to watch their creator burn, the flaming form of the spirit of the earth examines one of their hands as it burns ablaze. Then suddenly it is encased in molten rock, where you can see the heat of the fire peeking out from beneath, and that molten rock then is covered in a different layer of rock, and then a different layer of dirt, and then moss, and then the grass and the plants all return, and the bark mass down in front of the face. And it says in its voice to Azazel, "Where do you think your fire comes from? Second light."
Ouch!
Oh, that's so rude. Oh my god.
Azazel, would you say that burns?
Oh, just a little bit.
No wonder Azazel has a complex.
Ouch!
Yeah.
She's the second light.
Huh? She was made second.
Wow. Goddamn.
Meanwhile, we see Biel's, where we didn't even see this fight happening, but a monstrous version of Raven / Morgan possessed armor, fighting with Biel's and their staff, is kicked away and hits the ground and sort of slides up against the Demonlords, who are all now gathered together. Durs, do you have any way to bring Leviathan in on this as well? I suppose their ocean's being taken care of by Windy at the moment, so.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking in F-chat about how at least Azazel didn't get punked by a familiar, but no, I think I was out of momentum on Leviathan shenanigans.
Yeah, I guess as the last typhoon is sort of dissipated as Windy fires a few arrows into it, it does that thing where something punching through smoke, it sort of breaks up its integrity and then just drifts away. And they ride the last tornado down to the ground like a spiraling slide, and Leviathan is left there floundering on the ground with her long serpentine tail. The shadows coalesce into Koraline's moth girl form. The bright golden shine of the spirit of the earth flashes and reveals Aidan standing in her place. And Raven, you can remove the mantle of the Morrigan, and you are yourself once again, as Windy takes a couple steps in their human form, hop, skip, and then into leaves and wind, and forms as your familiar on your shoulder.
Yay.
We're back where we started, oddly enough. Funny how dreams can be cyclical like that. What do you do?
I've been told I have to do big magic, but I don't actually really know what that big magic is.
You told Aidan what you wanted to dream about.
Oh, yeah. But how do I get everybody else to leave?
Just describe it. The terrain and everything is vanishing as well. It's all being pushed away.
Mm-hmm.
The dust is settling, the water is gone, the darkness is gone, that crater vanishes. It's back to square one. What happens next?
As everything is vanishing, it doesn't quite go back to that fully white blank emptiness, because grass starts to grow, and then trees start to grow, and they start to become these huge old trees, and a whole forest emerges around everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little path forms with a trailhead marker and some stones. The camera almost goes as if you're like following this path through the forest as the forest is growing up around everybody and forming and filling this whole space and becoming the woods outside of Autumn Falls. It becomes this winding trail through the trees, and it's perfectly quiet. And then the trail goes along a little river, and you hear the water splashing, and it continues on. The trees open up, and there's like this lake, and there's kind of these huge mountains that grow up around the lake. It's like a little park, and there's picnic benches, and there's a little bridge, and it's the space outside Autumn Falls. It's Raven's favorite place to be, and it's the best place in the whole world. And you know exactly what I'm talking about.
You're gonna make me cry, Brittany.
I'm gonna make myself cry. Are you kidding?
Like you say, it is silent here in a way that...
It would be unnerving if you're not used to it.
Yeah. And it's not total silence, but it is devoid of any unnecessary sound.
Mm-hmm.
Azazel, obviously realizing a trick has been played, goes to cuss out Aidan, and no sound comes out of her mouth. We see Leviathan grabbing at Asmodeus's legs, trying to get his attention. And he looks around confused, sort of only bothering to glare at Koraline. And Biel's weakly pulls themselves up onto their staff as the Demonlords remain in this little group. Aidan takes your hand and starts walking with you down the path. And you take a step. Gold light ripples out from the first step you take. The Demonlords feel something pass over them. Like a bad sunburn has instantly hit them. You take a step. Silver light flashes down the path, hits the Demonlords again. Now suddenly it's like a cold chill has run down their back, the frost of Autumn Falls. They are soaking wet. The rains of the springs here. Silver again. The chill and bite of winter hits them. The cold wind full of the autumn leaves having fallen. As you and Aidan walk down this path, a light forms behind the two of you, and your steps pick up the pace. You're not rushing, but you're not going slowly. Like a heartbeat. And the light forming behind Aidan and Raven, we see it as it begins as a tiny spark and grows. And then it grows quite large. Koraline puts a hand out to Windy, and they hesitate, look at her, watch you two, and the two of you keep moving, and she and Windy stay back. Walk down this path. Every time you take a step, the demons are now being knocked backwards down the path in front of you, as if they're being bowled over by force being shoved at them. And that light behind you continuing to grow. Now it's taking on a shape. The light within this form is both gold and silver. And as you reach this vista view, where the trees open up and the park extends before you, the Demonlords are now clinging to the path, gripping as if a hurricane were trying to blow them away. The scene is still and serene as you described it originally, Raven. The Demonlords are simply unable to withstand the force of what you and Aidan have created together with this spell. And as the two of you lock eyes and look out at your favorite place, the light behind you forms a long serpentine neck, a short, snub-nosed snout with bright orbs of light where eyes might be. Horns that curl upwards form, and a full equine body forms behind this shape of light that is now coalescing. And again, we hear that steps, but maybe a heartbeat. And there is a sound that you have heard twice in your life, Raven. The sound of dragon roar.
What? There it is. I fucking called it.
Silver and gold lightning shoot from this creature and expand outwards into the space. Those flashes of gold and silver from you and Aidan's footsteps strike the Demonlords, and one by one they begin to hold up trembling forms that crack, shatter, and are blown away. Azazel is the last to go as she grips the ground, her hair flying behind her, her fox mask shattering first, revealing a burned and scarred other half to her face. And she opens her mouth, howling in rage and fury at you. The only sound is a short burst of galloping footsteps as the creature behind you rushes forward, stomps its front legs into the ground in front of Azazel. She instantly, like sonically shattered glass, is dispelled from this space, and the ward is created. And you hear the birds, ripple of the water, a little breeze, some footsteps on gravel as Koraline walks down the path that you and Aidan created. Wendy hops along beside her. And this form, this form of light with, again, a long sweeping tail that ends in a burst of fluffy, flowing energy, turns its long serpentine neck back to you, Raven, and then vanishes in a flash of lightning and is gone. Aidan looks at you and she says, "Did you imagine a dragon?"
Raven sits down on the ground, just like cross-legged, just like plops, still kind of staring up at where the dragon was. And she slowly shakes her head. No, I didn't imagine a dragon. Did you?
No, I didn't.
Huh. Okay. There was a dragon though, right?
She'll sit down next to you.
They're just holding hands.
Yep. Puts her head on your shoulder.
It was really cool, but weird.
Yeah.
It came out nice though. It looks just like how I remember.
Didn't have to change anything.
It's true. And Raven will lean her head over on Aidan's.
She just squeezes your hand. Wendy will pat up, snuggle into your lap. Koraline is like, you're like the sound of music being played through like bad speakers as she's like taking a phone out.
It's lo-fi.
No, it's not. No, it's like what it is. It's the jingle to an ad from like a YouTube video.
She doesn't even pay for premium. You have so much money.
All right, well, I'm gonna get out of here. I figure you two might want to get creative. See you around.
Thanks, Corey.
Not bad for your first fight dreamwalking, Aidan. Of course, you were always good in the bedroom. And Aidan sits up quickly, her face flushing bright red. Koraline Dustcart. But Corey is already vanishing in a black flicker of static. I cannot with her sometimes.
You're telling me. And Raven will just lean her head back down on Aidan's.
We cut to the real world. We see Aidan and Raven asleep on the living room floor. Wendy is snuggled in between the two of you. And Corey is quietly sitting up from where she'd been lying on your couch. She takes a couple pillows and gently puts them under your heads and drapes one of your blankets on the three of you.
She does care.
Corey steps out of your apartment and out onto your deck, and she pulls out her phone. She holds it to her ear as she kneels to put on her boots. Hey, you still awake? Yeah, just wrapped up. All good now. Yeah, they're gonna rest. Oh, good. Well, tell Hugo I'll be thinking about that favor. Uh-huh. Of course he is. We see Corey grin and stand again. Okay, well, keep your shirts on. Or off. I'll be back in a few. See you soon, Miss Wicket. Her dark moth wings appear, and she takes off into the night. Our camera lingers on the deck for a moment, and then pans up to the roof of the apartment, where we see a flickering shape of gold and silver light, the same shape as the dragon that manifested in your dreams.
Bitch!
What?
It surveys the view of Autumn Falls and then dives into a nearby telephone line, and a surge of power shoots away down the wires. And that's where we'll end our session.
What?
Oh my god.
Keep dreaming, adventurers.